Off the bus. Okay, the bus. The ship.
Oh, snow reflection coming in from the window, man. Oh,
3, 2, 1. Okay. Welcome to. Okay. All right. Sorry. I'm going to have to edit this out. Anyway, welcome to Comic Beat Insider, the weekly podcast and streamcast that's never about comics. It's always about movies and TV and occasionally about comics. I am Heidi McDonald, the editor-in-chief of The Beat at comicsbeat.com.
Hey, Jimmy Aquino here with the weekly podcast Comic News Insider. You can find us at covering comics, TV, film, and pop culture at comicnewsinsider.com.
And joining us this week for as musical month continues for On the Town, we have our co-host, Erin.
Hello, hello. Happy to be back and join you for another movie musical, my favorite thing to talk about in the whole wide world.
And this week we're joined by...
do I talk now? Oh, Trish Mulvihill, sorry. Comic book colorist and musical devotee.
Awesome.
Excellent. Well, Jimmy, obviously, with his background in musical theater, he and I were eager to do musical month and winnowing it down, of course. I mean, we could do musical year, actually.
We could start a musical podcast. Probably.
Yeah, we should. Maybe we should. Maybe we should just do comic, musical beat insider.
Comic musical insider.
Yeah, or something like that. But
yeah, something like that.
I decided to do On the Town with Gene Kelly, Frank Sinatra, Jules Munchin, Vera Ellen, Ann Miller, and Betty Garrett. Just 6 of the most delightful.
Sorry, I stopped listening after Vera Ellen.
I know, but then there Ann Miller. I mean, there's such a fantastic cast, and also New York. This just Trish and I have geeked out over this movie many a time and over Fleet Week. Perhaps we'll get into some of our Fleet Week.
Oh yeah, working in the bar industry, yeah, for sure. We know Fleet Week
I was saying to Heidi, Fleet Week in New York is a national holiday. It is.
Can't wait for boys to come back.
The stories are endless. I even have somewhere some very bad photos with a bunch of friends at a bar with a lot of sailors.
I've hung out with some of the sailors a lot, for sure.
Oh yeah.
One of them gave me one of the. It was when I had hurt my leg, so I was on crutches. So one of them gave me the long bullet from the ship gun, the turret, because they thought, oh, he's hurt. They give me this. I guess they carried him around and give away souvenirs. I still have it somewhere. It's like this long, it fits inside the ship gun or whatever it is. But yeah,
nice.
I've got to say that's what makes, I think, just to get it started, like this movie so realistic in a way of the excitement of the sailors to hit New York, but also the people are excited in New York to meet them. If you don't live in New York and have never experienced
you don't get it.
a Fleet Week, you do not understand that it is that way. That's 100% it. It's like, oh, hey, where are you from? Where do you want to go? Can I tell you? Hey, let's have a drink. It's very exciting.
Yeah, and Trish and I always joked that, on Monday we'd see a lot of solo sailors. And then, maybe on Wednesday we'd see groups of sailors and girls. And then on Saturday you'd see a sailor walking with a girl holding hands. It was beautiful to watch these.
I have a friend who met her husband. He was a sailor on Fleet Week, and they're married with 3 kids now.
My bartender friend Joy, same thing.
Yes.
Listen, I met some lovely female sailors as well. So let me tell you what.
Oh, that's right. It's equal opportunity. So anyway, so Trish, we start out, we go around and we talk about our first impression of the movie and how we first encountered it, what our initial feelings were, and then we come back and we start to do our deep dive. So I will start. So with a lot of the movies here, especially the movies that Erin and Jimmy are really into, like State Fair and White Christmas, they were like, I don't remember when I saw it. And it's obvious they're a huge part of their life. And I'll have to say On the Town is that for me. I don't remember the first time I actually saw it. Just, it was a movie that was on, kept watching it. I always loved Gene Kelly. He was like my first dance crush. And so, then I'm like, it's Frank Sinatra. And it's just, I never get tired of this movie. I have no idea how many times I've seen it. I know it by heart. I love it every time. It is a delight. So that's it. And here we are to talk about it.
Yeah, for me, I was telling them earlier is that as a former musical theater performer myself, I knew the musical. I'd never actually seen the stage musical, but I knew songs from it because friends had performed it at cabarets, or we sang in a class, or I might even sang one of the songs for auditions. Who knows? And but the movie, I don't remember. I know I saw a long time ago. And then maybe even again recently I saw it. Maybe I think I felt like I saw it like back in December. But then I watched it a couple of times this week just to refresh. So yeah, so it's not one of my favorites, not one of the ones I always went to or knew. I just knew of it. I obviously we all know New York, but yeah, it was fun to revisit though. Yeah.
Erin?
Yeah, well, I guess, same kind of thing with Heidi. I don't remember the first time I saw it because it was probably a part of my childhood from an early age. But I will say it's not one of my favorite movie musicals. It's one of my
Same,
favorite.
yeah.
I like it as a musical, as a stage production, more as a movie, because my favorite movie musical that was very similar to On the Town is Anchors Away, which came out in 44. And it's Gene Kelly and
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra.
I
And
love that movie. Yeah.
And
Love Anchors Away. Yeah.
I love Anchors Away more
Same.
than I do On the Town. But and also, anything with Gene Kelly, because he was
Yeah.
100% my first crush as a kid. 100%. When, little girls at school would talk about who, was their favorite crush, it was always some guy on, some sitcom or something. And for me, it was Gene Kelly. So I was the weirdo
Awesome.
in school. And I was like, I know he's already dead, but I still love him.
Yeah, Gene Kelly's the best. I mean,
yeah.
here's a movie where he tap danced on fucking roller skates. So come on.
Yeah.
It's like the dude is
What
amazing.
couldn't he do?
Dude's
Yeah.
amazing.
Trish?
Same as you guys. It was always part of my childhood, so I don't remember the first time. Gene Kelly fan club, of course.
Fantastic.
Fred and Gene, I'm equal. I don't play favorites. I love them both. But anyway, the cast is unbeatable. Like even as a kid, I just thoroughly enjoyed that cast. I mean, Ann Miller is just being Ann Miller. Showbiz, And Vera Ellen, I guess my first girl crush because I just thought she was the prettiest thing I've ever seen on TV. The hair, the wardrobe, everything, her dancing. I was just enthralled by this world. And I was always fascinated by the history of New York. So to see New York in, I guess, the 40s, it was late 40s when they filmed it. It's just, I love that. I love that so much. So.
Yeah. And it's so great that, because you guys probably know that, like, Gene Kelly insisted they shoot a lot in New York, and the producers were finally like, no, we got plenty of great New York sets here, back in old Hollywood. See, you don't need it. And he's like, no, we need like legit, New York. I'm so glad they did that, and they had such a short time here, and they had to.
I'm sorry, the one time they couldn't disguise that they were filming was at Rockefeller Center.
Oh, you could tell, yeah, right up there.
Oh, they're all watching.
Yeah, they're all watching, and that's because they were like worried all the Frank Sinatra fans were like, either getting wind of where they were shooting. So there was something where they had to like shoot from was it like a station wagon or something like that? I saw where they
hit the camera on a station wagon.
Yeah, just so they could shoot further, they could find other ways to shoot, because his fans were like crazy. Of course, that's at his peak. Sinatra,
I think that's one of the things I love about this movie. And I do love Anchors Away as well. It doesn't have Vera Ellen and Ann Miller in it. It has, Jerry the Mouse, but not quite the same. But I guess one of the things that I love about this movie is that, Frank Sinatra did these musicals. And obviously he would go on to become the boss, the chairman of the board, this really, incredible persona, really is egotistical. And it's very cool to see him in this movie being second fiddle a little bit, and just being part of the ensemble and
being
just
a little goofy,
That wasn't supposed to be like that though. Like he only took the movie because there was a song that he demanded was in the show, and he said, okay, if this song's in, I want to record that song, because he wanted to sing it. And it ended up getting cut.
Yeah. But he released it anyway, yeah.
He begrudgingly did this musical. He wasn't the guy that was like, let me play second fiddle.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, he did two other
music. Billing with Gene Kelly, when you see the opening of the movie, they share billing. I don't know if it makes a difference whose name is on the left or the right, but both their names are up there. So.
Oh yeah, I mean he's definitely a big star. But he made two other musicals with Kelly. Anchors Away and Take Me Out to the Ball Game, right?
Yeah.
And Trish, I remember you and I think you and I went to the theater. There was some musical week, and Trish and I went and saw these. It was like a Gene Kelly film festival, and we saw Trish's face would Take Me Out to the Ball Game, right? It's like, Alfie, don't you ever want to bust out? I haven't seen that since then. I should revisit that as well. But I mean, this is Oh, go on, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
I don't know if we've mentioned, but like Gene Kelly also co-directed this film with Stanley Donen, and he also choreographed it.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, so,
By the way, I did not know until I was reading about this that Stanley Donen and Gene Kelly were married to the same woman.
Oh, I don't think I knew that either.
Yes,
They were
At the
weirdos.
same time. No.
They were but they were
I'm just kidding.
complete creative partners.
Yes,
And
they were.
in every way, I guess.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, and she was a choreographer. Unfortunately, I can't remember call her name. I'll have to look it up. But she was like their choreographic assistant. And she's quite obviously probably very accomplished in her own right. And yeah, she was married to Stanley Donen. I'm sorry.
Betsy Blair or
no, the
Gene
next
Coyne.
one. Gene Coyne. Gene
Okay.
Coyne. Yes. And so she was married to Stanley Donen first, and then she was Gene Kelly married her like 10 years later.
Yeah.
And they were married until she passed away. So
well, she had a type.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yes. So they should make a movie out of that. I'll say, when we do these, I read the Wikipedia page, of course, like I'm sure we all do. And I read Gene Kelly's and I'm like, man, this is the worst Wikipedia page. It really is a bad Wikipedia page. And I'm like, this is a person, I want to read his biography.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever read his biography or autobiography?
I'd love to. Maybe I'll get the audiobook version of it.
I think I have like a, DVD of his biography, of his life or something, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
there was another, before we move on, when you were talking about how Gene Kelly fought for them to shoot, in New York and how important it was, and he won the argument. He actually lost the argument for Brigadoon.
Yes.
He wanted to shoot, and he said in many articles when the film failed, he said it's because we did not shoot on location like we should have, and they did the big cheesy sound stages, and it didn't work. Had they been in a freaking field in Scotland and dancing through heather, it would have been the most cinematic, glorious thing. But on a sound stage, it didn't work.
Yeah, that was because he had stepped away for a while. His reason being, to work on like some artiste stuff, some ballet stuff he was doing, and then when he came back, the musical was starting to sort of die out, the musical movie, and so they were like, yeah, you can do it, but you're not going on location, and so that's basically why. Well, there was a lot of reasons behind why they didn't do it. But yeah, I agree. I don't. That's another musical I don't really love. They were bringing it in. I'm like, I'm even bringing it forever. The musical's over. Great.
As we affectionately call it in theater world, Bridge of Doom.
Bridge of Doom, yes. Yes.
Across the Bridge of Doom.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my fave.
Well,
I turned down doing it when I got cast. I was like, I don't want to do this.
I did it when I was like a young teen.
Yeah, I was like, no, just
it's like a 9-hour musical. It's forever. It's so boring.
Like that and Paint Your Wagon. I did do Paint Your Wagon. It was like the worst. Cause it's like, it's got that, that whole song about like, where it repeats constantly. Where it's like da 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 da, paint your wagon, da, da, da. So we were like, got no story, got no plot, and I take this clothes off because it's so damn hot. It's like it was like.
All I remember about Paint Your Wagon is it starred Clint Eastwood, a wonderful theater performer, singer, and like it opens. I remember I sat down to watch that with my family, and it opens with him singing, and it's his back, and you can see what a great ass Clint Eastwood does. He's singing, I don't know, we call the wind, Mariah, and I'm just, and my mother or somebody said, yeah, man, Clint's butt is really, the star of this show, and I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
I mean, had to have some star. So anyway, started
anyway, getting back to On the Town. So I loved this movie. And I knew there was a show, which I actually have still from the show as kind of a tribute to it, but I wasn't aware that there was, I wasn't a On the Town truther. And
it's vastly different.
Yes, vastly different. And I did not know that composer Leonard Bernstein hated the movie, and that broke my heart.
Well, half his shit got cut. It's like they rewrote, all this other stuff, like Roger Eden's. There's
no epic dance numbers in the movie. In the musical, it is dance.
It is like tons of dream ballets in the musical.
All the dream ballets.
There's like 3 dream ballets in the musical. Yeah.
I realized that there was the movie, which was, the musical before the movie. There was a ballet before the musical called Fancy Free.
Yes. Yes.
I freelanced at American Ballet Theater in my early 20s.
Amazing.
amazing. 50th anniversary season. So they had a
Wow.
spectacular performance. I didn't get to see Fancy Free. I can't remember if they did a snippet of it during the performance, but I never knew that. I mean, I was so familiar with the movie, I never knew that there was this ballet called Fancy Free. And so suddenly I was dealing with all of this like vintage artwork and learning about it, and it was so cool. But it's very, it's very different, obviously, than the movie. It's not very PC from, when you like the opening.
I don't know, yeah.
It's like guys chasing girls, and it's not, it's by today's standards, we'd be clutching our pearls a little, but it's something a lot of people don't realize, that it's kind of like how comic books inspire, movies, and, sometimes people aren't aware of the original inspiration,
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think that's why in the beginning it said, concept or idea by Jerome Robbins. It had his name very big in the credits.
But they never mentioned Fancy Free. I was watching it last night. I was like, it's not there. So I saw
Well, that's why the stage musical has so many dream ballets, because it's based on that. Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how Gene Kelly develops. Like obviously he was kind of obsessed with the dream ballet.
Well, that was just the time period.
Yeah.
And you know why though? Because so they.
Oh, I have some info too. Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when they used to cast people to be in stuff, you were either a singer and an actor or a dancer. It was very rare to have someone that was what we call now the triple threat.
Triple threat, yeah.
So that was just not a thing. It was like, someone went to Hollywood or someone went to Broadway and they were just this big singer. So they would do stuff around them. It's in the same way that
Sinatra.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. So they would write these epic musicals and, say like Oklahoma, and they have Laurie's Big Dream Ballet. That was for her to take a nap on stage and then bring out the fake Laurie to do the dance, because Shirley Jones couldn't dance like that.
Yeah.
So they do it in the films too. And it was also a way to give these lead actors a break to leave the stage. Someone would come out and pretend to be them to do the dance number to give them a second off stage as well. So these were written into shows for that.
I did not
know. Most people couldn't do it all for this. They just couldn't. Nowadays, like if you see a production of On the Town in a theater, those three boys do not leave the stage. They are dancing their asses off. And in this, they had the dream where all of a sudden there's two new actors coming in. It's because they couldn't dance like that.
Yeah.
They couldn't. Yeah.
Well, that's how I was looking, did a little research on dream ballets. What was the first dream ballet? And on stage, I think it was Oklahoma, 43, because On the Town came the year after in 44. So they just beat them by a year. But I was trying to think what the first movie one was. It did mention it, but it wasn't either one of them. It was another movie that came up before. I forgot what it was. So, but yeah, it became a phenomena thing where it just started happening in all these musicals where, dream ballet, that's kind of cool. That's a good metaphor for, what's happening on screen.
Or it was also to tell people what was in someone's heart. It was like a way they could get away with like bringing in a little more art instead of being so like in your face. It was a way of like, this is what they're thinking. So now we're going to go do a ballet. It's very
right, yeah. Yeah. Oh, the glass slipper, apparently 1944 with Leslie Caron.
Of course it's with Leslie Caron.
Of course.
Because she was the most beautiful dancer. Of course it was.
Yeah. Yep. Right on.
Well, but certainly the concept really fit with Gene Kelly's artistic vision. I mean, it was obviously something that he took full advantage of, for all of his movies, have the dream ballet, the great movies. And I do think
American in Paris is like almost an entire dream ballet, like the whole thing.
Love that film.
Well, so Trish, your audio is cutting out a little bit, and as I said, we're all pretty chatty, so you kind of have to bust on through. So yeah, do you have headphones? Maybe, yeah, that's it. Just bust on out.
Headphones ready.
Yeah, there you go.
Am I low?
No, it's just because you're not. You're having a hard time busting through us three chatty people. Is the problem.
Sorry.
That's all.
Well, try to let me know if it's better.
Yeah,
give me a B flat. Let's see how that is.
Yeah. So just while Trish is with her audio, though, I think now I really want to see the show, because I will say the thing that I love most about this movie is the dancing. Is absolutely the dancing.
It's the best part of it.
Yeah. And you know, the fact that you have 3 world-class dancers in it, and Gene Kelly, Vera Ellen, and Ann Miller, means that, you know, they really did not stint on the dancing. And you know, getting to see Gene Kelly and Vera Ellen dance together is
in a very, what I love about that number, well, the one where I know we're skipping around, is the number where finds her at the studio in Symphonic Hall. It's such a subtle number. It's such a laid back, chill dance. It's not this grand, huge number. And it's just this kind of like, yeah, we're chilling, we're tapping, we're hanging out. It's all good. And I love that about, because again, you got these probably two of the best dancers in Hollywood at the time, you know, and like just having a chill little dance together. Like, we don't need to show off. You know, we're good. We're going to show it in another number. We're good. We're good. So I thought that was really cool that that he took that approach to that number. That was really good.
And Vera Ellen is so elegant. You know, she's
those kicks.
Best legs.
Oh my God.
I don't care that she doesn't sing.
Yeah. Oh, you sound a million times better.
There you go.
A million times better. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can cut through the wall of Jimmy and Heidi.
Because we talked about this at White Christmas, who dubbed her. Who dubbed her here? I couldn't find the info. Was it the same woman? Did she have the same woman do her, like what's her name in State Fair had?
I don't know. I think it was someone different, actually.
Yeah.
But
she never really had a solo
at all.
thing. Yeah, because she was mostly chorus anyway, but she didn't really have any solo stuff too much. But
it might have been her voice. I mean, she has a nice voice.
Yeah, her voice isn't bad. They just didn't. Yeah.
I mean, singing is not, you know, the big thing here, and you could get away with just being, you know, a character singer, like Betty Garrett, to be honest. You know, she's a character singer.
Ann Miller sang. I mean, it would be kind of tough for Vera Ellen to go up against Ann Miller types, you know.
Well, if you notice that when they do the group numbers, the only voice you hear is Ann Miller, because she's belting her face off in every group number. And it's like the person that just cuts through is Ann Miller.
She's not elegant.
She is showbiz.
She is going to be a star, baby.
I didn't find. We talked about how it's so different stage musical. Do we know why? They dropped so much of Bernstein's songs?
So they said, according to the Wikipedia page, was that the guy who wrote the songs, who now I should look it up, because he actually did write he also wrote the songs for
Roger Edens.
Roger Edens, yeah.
Oh yeah, he wrote a lot.
He was now, and you know, as I've mentioned in the very first episode, you know, I'm a big show tunes expert. I mean, or not expert, but I'm very familiar with the history of show tunes. A lot of, you know, the more obscure writers. I didn't even know this guy.
He just said he disliked them. Because they were too complex and too operatic for film audiences.
Yes. Now, I will say, aside from New York, is, which of course our favorite number. My second favorite number is "Come to My Place," which is a Bernstein song.
Well, the Bernstein songs are much better.
Yes, and lyrics and the screenplay also written by Adolph Comden and Betty Green, who are great.
Come Up to My Place.
All of their musicals are fantastic.
They're so witty. I mean, the script to this movie is witty, and you know, it's no slouch.
And they look like they're having such fun all the time doing it.
For sure.
So I was thinking, so the song that Sinatra wanted to sing from the show was a song called Lonely Town, which is a great freaking song. And and
he recorded later, yes.
And I could see why he wanted to sing it. I can also see why they cut it, because this movie it's a souffle. It's a trifle.
Well, they cut all the heartfelt songs.
Yeah, the sad stuff. Yeah,
they made it like, "Yay, we're in New York, and then we leave. See ya." And it you know,
get it, and quit it. Yep.
It cut my favorite song in all of, you know, we'll get to it, but they cut my favorite song in the whole show.
Well, the other thing, and so I said the dancing is the thing I love about this movie. The other thing is the women are just so.
Oh, they steal it for me.
Great.
I mean, besides Gene, like Frank's sort of just like, Jules has some funny moments, but it's like, and Gene, of course, is Gene. He's great, but like the women are the best thing in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even going to Alice Pierce, who was the only one from the Broadway show to make it into the movie. Who played the roommate, Lucy Schmealer.
These women. You know, this is the post-war era. It's very interesting, you know, that Betty Garrett is the cab driver, you know, Hildy. And they say, that when they see that a woman is driving the cab, they say the war is over. Why are you doing this? So,
Yeah.
obviously women took over a lot of jobs, but these women are brassy. They are ballsy. When they see Frank Sinatra in a sailor suit, they are, I want that. And they won't take no for an answer. That's a little
right.
un-PC also, but
Well, there's also the archetypes they put them as, right? So you've got the broad, ballsy girl, you've got the
Hildy,
brainiac working in the museum, and then you've got the ingenue,
Claire.
sweet girl from home. They kind of
Ivy.
they put you in the three different kinds of women.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's interesting because in the musical, obviously, the war was still going on when the musical came out, so it made sense she was the cab driver because they were that was happening. But yeah, I think the women in this are fantastic because like you come right out and like they get off the ship and they start their whole thing and their characters are established right away, and and they're running around. They immediately run right into Vera Ellen.
Well,
As
he
Ivy
sees
Smith,
he sees the
that's great.
poster, and
Yeah,
I
poster,
do
yeah.
love the conceit of Miss Turnstiles, which there was a Miss Subway. I mean, this was based on a reality,
Oh, I'm
but
sure.
just
Yeah.
the
And
conceit
well, do
that
you know Ellen Stardust Diner?
Ellen Stardust Diner, yeah.
I, like many,
Me and my friends
actors,
worked there.
I hosted there for a whole
Nice.
6 minutes.
Wow.
Her pictures were everywhere as her time being Miss Subway. Like
Yeah.
that's her biggest.
I was fascinated by that.
That was her biggest. Ellen was so proud of being a Miss Subway.
I'm
Like
sure.
it was everywhere.
I would be too. God.
I
Oh,
really
Mr.
wish
Subway.
you
Never
had
met
times,
another.
Gene. I would love to walk around 1949 New York City just for an
Yeah.
afternoon, man.
That's what was so great, seeing all the sites that we know and love, and we've all been to
Yeah.
back then in 1949, or when they
and it's
it's
just
like,
when you
oh my
see
God.
and when you see the things that you still know, it's just that's another
That
reason
was
I
really
wanted to do
fun to
this
see.
movie. Jimmy
And
and
the
I have
opening
been
does that. It's great. I love
we've been doing this podcast for almost a year now because we've been stuck in our homes for a year. And watching this movie, just I remember that.
Yeah.
I got a little teary-eyed when it was doing all the New York scenes. I got a little like choked up. I'm like, oh, there she is.
In the opening. Well, also because when they're about to when they do Come to My Place and he talks about where he wants to go, check those are closed, they're all gone, which unfortunately is happening a lot more recently, where our places are, my friends, many friends have already closed restaurants down and bars, and just like it's so heartbreaking.
But Hildy says a line in the cab, and she tells him, "This is New York. Things are always changing." Something to that effect.
Yeah.
Like, it breaks my heart because I miss a lot of things that are gone. Penn Station, things I've never seen. I miss,
Yeah.
But that line, when I heard it last night, it just really resonated with me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course, in that opening song, there was a big change in the words.
Oh yes.
That goddamn, what was it, the Breen office, is it, or whatever it is, the censorship office, where they're like, you can't say hell of a, and you gotta change it to wonderful. So instead of it's a hell of a town, it's a wonderful town. It's like,
haven't you ever heard swear like a sailor? Come on.
like, seriously. I was like, wow. The Breen office, who were like, Jesus.
I mean, Clark Gable didn't give a damn 10 years earlier, so what's the problem?
Yeah.
What's wrong with hell of a? Yeah, I don't get it.
But so anyway, so yes, these sailors are on the town. They're looking at the sites, and then they just, now they're like, it's 10:30, which I love the timestamps in this movie. It's like, we've been to the cloisters and to the Brooklyn Navy Yard by 10.
Yeah, in like a matter of seconds. Like Jesus.
And Gene Kelly sees this poster of Vera Ellen as Miss Turnstiles, and then they have that on the subway, and then they have that musical number with her, which is another great Vera Ellen. Like, again, she's elegant, but she's so athletic.
This is the best moment of the film.
Great choreography.
The sort of dream sequence, whatever, I've got this one a dream ballet or not, but my God, the montage of her doing literally everything. I mean, look at those kicks. It shows off her comedy side a bit as well. Like if she were alive today and at the same age, she'd be an action star, because they kind of is some fight choreography in there.
Yeah.
And it's like she'd be a kick-ass kung fu artist, I mean, did I mention those kicks? It's like, I love her so much. Wow. Yeah, she's amazing. Like that scene, I watched it because it's on YouTube. Also, I watched it a few times, even more after I watched the movie. I was like, God damn, just watching her go. And obviously, it was done in takes. It wasn't one shot, of course. The different outfit changes, but it's like,
As a
Man.
kid, that scene riveted me as a kid.
Yeah.
Wow, look at her go. You're right.
Yeah.
She's so good.
But I do think, you know, for sure, like, you know, being a woman in a man's industry, you know, comic books, I'm sure when I saw this movie as a kid, I'm sure just the fact that the women were so kick-ass, and, you know, one's an anthropologist, you know,
Yeah.
and they're in man's, I'm sure that really spoke to me and
Mhm.
really resonated with another reason why I love this movie so
Mhm.
much, you know,
Yeah.
and
A man
Yeah.
hungry anthropologist.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
yeah, a man hungry anthropologist. Isn't that what we
Well,
all?
not just all men. She likes the old school, you know,
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
cavemen. But
Yeah,
yeah.
caveman,
Yeah.
I
What
want a caveman.
what I also love, a quick little moment in the subway, was when they go to ask directions and the subway passes and you
Oh,
can't hear them. I'm like, how many times do we do that all the
It's
time?
so
Where we're like trying to talk
funny.
to your friend and you just pause when somebody, you're like, hey, so
And they just move on to the next.
Anyway,
It
guys,
is
we
so
got.
funny. It's so
I'm
funny.
like, we've all had that moment. We've all done that. We all still do that moment. I'm sure.
And I love how they try to take a cab to get to the next subway stop. And I'm thinking the train
Yes,
is 5 stops away by now.
So funny.
yeah, exactly.
it's
Especially
And they
the
have a
time it
discussion
takes
in
to
the
get into
cab first. It's like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. That kid, that was probably, if it's going to Columbus Circle, it was probably the 8 train or the 1, and that's already up at like.
oh no,
That's
come
an
on, man.
express. You better just start running.
Yeah, the express is at 125th already.
And
So it's like,
I
yeah,
do say they're like, all right, we're here at Columbus Circle, because I mean, of
Yeah.
all the locales in New York, Columbus Circle's
Yeah.
changed the most, right? And like when they do the panorama shot, I'm like, what? Look at the that's not there anymore. So
Yeah.
anyway, so Gabby Gene Kelly is off on his quest for Vera Ellen, and then they go into a museum.
Well,
And
we meet Hildy, the cab driver
yes, we
first.
meet Hilda the cab driver, played by the
who's
delightful Betty Garrett.
fantastic.
And
God damn, she's so good.
just, you know, she's
Is great.
a pistol.
She's a piston. Yeah, I was gonna say she's got gumption.
She's a broad.
See? Yeah.
But then we get to the museum and we meet Ann Miller in her green dress with the plaid lining. It haunts
Gorgeous.
my
And the hat.
dream.
And
And-
how lucky were they that they found this actor Jules Munchin, who looked just like the Neanderthal man. Just kidding. But,
I know, right? Yeah.
But yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and you know they have this number in there, which was written by Roger Edens. It's not a Leonard Bernstein. Although I think he was trying to maybe be a little bit more jazzy, because
it's
it's
a
a
cute
little
little
weird.
number.
It's cute. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Little
You know,
number.
they're
Yeah,
adequate. All the numbers are adequate. There's,
cute little number.
you know, but you know, we get
It gives her a chance to show her stuff. She's a
Oh
triple
God,
threat.
can she
Yeah.
hoof? Oh,
oh
nice hoofing. Let me tell you what.
And I always like to watch the other actors watching her, and they're like,
Yes.
look at her
But
go.
also, what I thought was like, wow, how hard, but that must have been to not only have Kelly as your co-star, but he's in the same scene, but he's also your choreographer and director. Like, how
Yeah.
nerve-wracking must that have been?
I don't
mean, as
think Ann
professionals,
Miller
yeah.
was nerves were racked at all. I think she's
Well, fair enough.
impervious.
It's like,
Pro.
I don't know.
Impervious.
I don't know, but I'm just
I
saying, it's
think
like,
he
it's probably
had.
like,
I think he had to worry about making sure that Frank Sinatra didn't fall on his face and make sure that was fine.
Jesus, yeah,
So he-
like
so,
Frank.
So
had,
he,
like,
you know, you
zero.
lean on the troopers, and Ann Miller's a trooper, so he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you got it, thank you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the back, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's why, like, anytime there's a little dance number with Frank in it, it's minimal choreography for the chorus part. It's like
They
in the
give him
bar later,
time-
it's like,
they give him again. They're doing the same
Yeah.
thing. We talked about this in White
Yeah.
Christmas. They gave him a tap dance, and people dance, you know, a time step, and people
Mhm.
like just dance around him.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Mhm.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I mean, you know, again, this is just a showcase for Ann Miller. She just gets
Yeah,
this
she's
spectacular number, very much. And then, you know, her and Jules Munchin they're on it, man. I mean, and
Yeah.
she just grabs him, you know, kisses him,
Yeah.
take like the sailor.
Like
photo.
she's the
There's-
caveman grabbing the woman by the hair, which they showed later. Yeah.
The
There
men have all
is-
been at war. Ladies are thirsty too. It's like, where
Yeah.
you guys been?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right.
We see the Riveter. Yeah.
And
Um,
go on, Jimmy.
Something I only found out pretty recently, because there's a big dinosaur there, the bones, and they knock it over. It's part of the big thing. I'm ashamed to say, I found out pretty recently, those aren't the real bones in the History Museum. I was like, I don't know. I guess I always thought those are real dinosaur bones.
No, it's a fake dinosaur.
Only like maybe 5 years ago, I think I found, like, oh really? Okay. I guess that makes sense that they're not real ones. So
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
I don't know. So
Yeah, well, that's, you know, listen,
Listen, I
it's-
just found out in Karate Kid 2, they weren't actually in Okinawa, Japan. I thought they were. I thought I was seeing the sites. It was Hawaii. I didn't know. I understand.
That action.
I understand the disappointment when you find out those things.
For sure.
Yeah.
You're like, son of a bitch.
So anyway, so then we have
Come up to my place.
yes, come up to my place. So they go off. You know, Betty Garrett has just been Hildy's just been trying to be alone with Frank Sinatra, who seems not
Seems a
thrilled.
little reluctant at first, but then he kinda gets into it. Well, he gets into it.
But then
Uncomfortable.
This number in any musical stage is the funniest thing in the show.
Yeah.
It tears it down. Every single time she stops that cab, he is flipping around, head going to the back. Like, it's such big physical comedy because she is stopping that car so hard every single time, and it just builds where he's just trying to see the sights. That was the one disappointment I had in this. Like, he just never left the front seat.
Yeah.
yeah. But
I
I
was like, oh,
Like, he fell
what
down
are
on
you
the floor
stopping
once.
for? Hey. But he's like really disappointed every single time he finds out that, these places are closed, because he's been reading this book back and forth, and he's
From
heard from his grandpa, and
1906.
he's just waiting to see these things.
Yeah.
So he's like
The
super upset.
hippodrome.
Yeah. Did you say the hippodrome? I mean, these are a great example of
The
great
tempo of that song.
by
and the musical
Comden and
beats.
Green, just how sophisticated.
Oh, yeah.
And Bernstein. I mean, they were.
Yes, I said the hippodrome.
Yeah, the way, the tempo and the musical beats are so amazing. It's so precise.
And then it goes jazz.
awesome.
Say,
Yeah.
What did you say?
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's a great,
So
it's a
great.
great song. And the recruit, come to my place, come to my
Yeah.
place. Like,
Not subtle
Let's
at
go to
all.
Lindy's, go to my place.
this
Radio
is.
City in Merrill Square.
I mean, this is
And
a.
then-
Oh, Trish, go on.
No, I'm saying it's such a turnaround for him, because he's like beating her off, like fighting her off, and then they get to her place and he's like, oh, what the hell, and
Yeah, let's do it.
bam, they're at it.
Well,
Right.
what's great, many great things about the apartment scene is, before we get to the roommate, is like he walks in with groceries. Now that's important for the stage version, because there's another number that's fantastic that was cut. Oh, that song.
Something.
Oh, what is this number? What is the number?
I can cook too.
I can cook too.
It's
Selling herself that I'm not this just broad who's driving a cab. I can cook too, top of the list. She's got this whole, like, I can dish this out and dish this. I can
Aaron, just do the whole song, please. Go ahead.
She's like, I could be a housewife too. Like, she is selling herself to him.
Yeah, it's
Like,
great.
I'm not this just like, balls to the wall broad. I'm gonna make you dinner too.
And
like,
this brings down the house every
It's
breakfast.
great. It's a jazz number. It
Yeah.
is fantastic, and it's so upsetting that the
Yeah.
other women all get to shine with a real song, except for her in the movie musical.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
big
I've not seen a stage musical, so you guys are really making me want to go.
I know, right?
Well,
We
I've only
it does
seen
come back.
numbers from I've seen that number because it's actually up on YouTube. I've seen the number, but I knew the song. I think a friend of mine sang it.
The actress that
Yeah.
played the last revival on Broadway, she was nominated for a Tony because
Mhm.
that number tore the house down every night.
Yeah,
That
you can
number.
get it.
Exactly. So that's so sad that they wouldn't put such a spectacular song in the movie.
But I
Yeah,
think
it's the same.
they wanted to keep things moving. I think
Sure,
that
sure.
was the whole plan. They, like you said, no time for introspection.
Mhm.
No
No.
time.
No.
No time to think. They got only 20. We got just 24 hours to see the city. We
Yeah.
got to see it all.
It's true. It's true.
But then
But yeah, we
we
get to
meet.
go to the nightclub later and see all 9 minutes
Floor
of it.
shows,
Like,
Yeah.
floor
Yeah,
shows.
right. Well, there's great because the other great thing about the scene is, of course, we meet the great roommate, Lucy. Lucy, played by the great Alice Perch, who again was the only one from the Broadway production that made it into the movie, and she is so good.
Deservedly
Like
so.
every scene she's in, obviously she steals.
Mm.
She got to get some gargle. I got the gargle. It's like, oh my god. She
Yeah,
is
and but she's a classic third wheel. I mean, this
Yeah.
is, time. The clock's ticking. I
Yeah.
got this sailor in my apartment, girl. I love when
And
like,
what horrible advice to tell her to go to a cool movie theater when she has a cold. I'm like,
well,
what? What?
She doesn't
What?
care. She's like, get the hell out of here. She doesn't care.
I know. I'm with you. I'm like, here's $20. Go down the road.
And as the movie goes on, they really make her a likable character.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
don't. she's not
Yes,
this
they do.
throwaway, let's make fun of her and she's
Mm-mm.
out of the picture. She
No,
becomes a really
she's sweet,
likable
yeah.
character.
Yes.
It's very sweet. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
very
sure.
much so.
Oh, she's so good. She's so good.
Well, I mean, and
Yeah.
Alice Pierce later went on to be the iconic Bewitched neighbor,
Yes.
Gladys Kravitz.
Yes.
She was the nose. She was the nose. She
Love
is
it.
the nosy neighbor, man.
Love her.
Yep.
Yes.
So yeah, so we see, you know, like Ann Miller and Jules Bunchett are obviously, you know, exploring prehistory. You know, Hildy has got her sailor.
Yeah.
And then Alvy finds, or Alvy, I say
Gaby.
Alvy, Gabby, yeah.
Gaby.
He always had a name like that though in all
It's
his movies.
Gaby.
Yeah,
Gaby,
Gaby, yeah.
finds.
Gaby's
he
coming.
just happens to find Vera Ellen, Miss Turnstiles in the
Symphonic
symphonic
Hall.
hall. Just happens to open the right door, and we learn her secret. That
Yeah.
So scandalous.
This is great.
That
She's a
she-
cooch dancer.
Huge dancer.
I don't think I've ever heard that expression.
Never.
before.
That gets
was
by,
like-
but hell of a town doesn't.
Yeah, I was like, how did she says it again later? You found out my
know.
secret. I'm a cooch dancer, and I'm like, this is great. Oh my god,
Like,
I love it. Which I guess they just mean burlesque, right? So but it's like,
As a kid, you're like, what does that mean?
well, I
You don't
thought
know
when she
what it
said
means,
cooch
and it
dancer, I thought
sounds-
they meant like one of those like
Ooh.
dance for a dime type girls type things. Like, but no, it's just like burlesque basically she's doing. I'm like, that's
That
not
is
anything
pretty
bad. It's
mild
very
mannered.
tame. Yeah, it's very
burlesque.
tame.
But
Oh,
it's
she gets to wear a pretty costume. What's wrong with that?
But she's so sweet because she's taking these classes and her teacher is this like swindler drunk, you know, who's like threatening to tell her parents that she's a cooch dancer and so she leaves her room to get more alcohol because she ran out, you know, and Gene Kelly finds her, you know, finds Ivy. Gaby finds Ivy and they have this sweet little conversation and like I love watching
oh yeah.
like
And then-
like Vera Kelly's facial expressions of like hiding the fact that she knows she's from the same town and the recognition and then like just the way she the subtle little face change. I'm like, oh, I love you so much.
I'll say that's pretty much as far as this movie goes into introspection is that, you know, the illusion of Miss Turnstiles being a big celebrity when she's actually a cooch dancer who comes
Yeah.
from the same small town as Gaby, you know, and
Hey, a
like
cooch dancer is a celebrity to me, so you know.
yeah, and they have you know, they immediately connect. And we talked about with State Fair where I just didn't buy that you know, these romances flowed over 3 days. But you know, when you love the musical, you don't care. So in On the Town, I'm like, an hour, yeah, no problem.
An hour.
Oh my God! I'm like,
Yeah.
it goes back to Romeo and Juliet. Come on, it
Yes.
goes back to Shakespeare. It happens in theater all the time, for sure.
Well,
yeah.
this movie is about Mr. Right now,
Yeah.
not Mr.
Mhm.
Right.
I
So
think that probably happened more often than we realized in wartime. You know,
Oh, for sure.
100%.
people were
Absolutely.
starving for romance and they saw it and they took advantage of it. And
Well, also
Go for it,
in
you know?
film and theater and TV, like you mentioned Romeo and Juliet, it's like it's not love. It's just you really like somebody. But of course, it's more flowery to say like I fell in love, you know, whatever like that.
it's
So
like the
just
movie
really
The
have a
Clock
crush on somebody.
with Judy Garland, The Clock. Remember the black and white movie?
Oh, don't know this one. no.
And the actor's name was Robert something, I think. I feel bad, I can't remember. But like they meet and they fall in love, and it's like the clock is the whole thing, you know, time is of the essence, and they fall in love really quick, they get married. So I recommend that movie.
Yeah.
it's Robert
Yeah.
Walker. I just looked it
Robert
up.
Walker.
Robert Walker.
Okay, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, it's just
But
it's
it's-
just a thing, you know. It
Yeah.
happens. It's more
Yeah.
it's just more romantic
But
to
I-
have them
but
be in love and not just like I got a crush on this girl.
Intense
You know?
wartime romances, yeah.
But when
Yeah.
but knowing that Gaby and Ivy have this connection gives it a little more heft, right? Gives it
Yeah.
just a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
for sure.
Connection. That they have a more real connection. That
She's not
is-
this fancy girl that you know
Yeah.
we think she is. She's
No, they
Yeah.
come from
actually a
similar
hometown girl,
people,
yeah,
similar
yeah.
values.
literally the
like,
same town.
the-
you know?
the
Literally
song-
the same
Like,
town. So yeah,
That-
they
Walking
they-
down Main
very
Street, the
similar.
song brings that together.
yeah. Had they met back in town, they probably would
Yeah.
have, you know, dated. They
So
probably
what's
would have been together.
because they talk about like having the same teacher and she covers it up quickly, but like what's the age difference
Right.
there? You know, I'm curious about the characters it's supposed to be because he clearly is probably a little older than her, which is fine. But it's like how do they not know each other in that little town? They must have been like 5 years apart, maybe. I don't know.
Ask questions.
Maybe she's 18, maybe he's 23. I have the burning questions. I want to know.
But the answers are
But
questions.
she
I-
The
also
population of Meadowville.
Smith, Ivy Smith, I would have noticed her in town walking around.
she might have
been
been
like,
a
"Who is
completely
that?"
different person. She probably when she
Fair
went
enough,
to New
absolutely, yeah.
York, she
Yeah.
blossomed a
Reinvented
little bit
herself, yeah,
and
there you go.
reinvented and became a little bit
Fair
more
enough, there you go.
fabulous.
Yep, there you go.
Because
No.
another
I
thing,
would have thought she was fabulous no matter what.
well, another thing to heighten Jimmy's crush is that she as Miss Turnstile, she talks in a different way that she
Yes,
didn't
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great too.
And I
And
know she doesn't look Gene Kelly in the eye sometimes when she's trying to
Yeah, that's
do
what I'm
that.
talking about. Her
Like,
facial expression, kind of
they're
like
talking and she's like
yeah,
looking
she's
away from him.
ashamed. She's ashamed. She's lying. Yeah,
Mhm.
because she wants to tell him the truth. She has a crush right away too, and she wants to tell him what's up. And eventually, she does try later. But it's like, oh,
So
I love
cute. But
her.
they all agreed at
Heart melting.
8:30 at the Empire State Building, at the top of the Empire State Building. Obviously, they've had
After their
fun
cute little dance together. Yeah.
after they've had time to study anthropology and biology. And now, as in White Christmas,
Mhm.
there is a little bit of this really dopey subplot that adds a soup con of tension to the film, where they're wanted by the
Yeah.
police.
Yeah.
There's the
It's like a
police.
Keystone Cops thing. The whole like
Yes.
Yeah.
they're chasing them. It's like
Yeah, I mean, we don't
they're
really.
each individually wanted by the police for something else
Yeah,
different. Stealing the poster, like you're really wanted by the police for that. Knocking over the dinosaur bones. Okay, that's maybe not wanted by the police, but maybe some questioning. And like come on.
stealing the cab.
Yeah,
Hildy's
stealing.
cab is
Yeah,
out
exactly.
late.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like,
so
come on.
they all reunite at the top of the Empire State Building.
And we have this terrible song that has a great name called "You're Awful." I did not like the song. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
it was perfect for Sinatra. Sinatra. It has very croony, or just made for him. But it was like I'm just like, okay, I get the joke of the song. But
Yeah.
it's just like it just wasn't. It was like, like the whole Empire State Building scene felt like big filler, and it went on too long for me. I was like,
And
all
we
right,
didn't need that. We could have put back in the
Uh-huh.
end, the best
Mhm.
song in the show. But no,
Yeah.
give Sinatra his big moment. Who cares?
yeah,
yeah,
fucker.
yeah. All right, but they do get to have that ensemble number. Another number where we see all six of them together
Yeah.
and cover up their various dancing and performing strengths. And it's at the
Fun.
I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I agree though that the movie does lose a little bit of steam during this segment.
Yeah.
So to talk about the best number, I think in the show, besides I Can Cook Too, is a song it's in the show called Some Other Time. And it's where they have to go, like the time is dwindling and they have to go back to the ship, and they've all fallen in love. And they also, that it's the end of their day, but they're also going back to war. So they sing this love ballad all kind of to each other of, where has the time all gone to? Haven't done half the things we want to. Oh, well, we'll catch up some other time. And it's
Yeah,
beautiful
sweet.
because the meaning of, oh, well, we'll catch up some other time is them not trying to say goodbye, and the
Yes.
significance of going to war, back to war.
Yes.
And they know it has this weight to it.
Mhm.
And it takes the whole fluff and fun of the show
Mhm.
and brings it to this beautiful place of,
Yeah.
we really connected here and we have to say goodbye, but we're not going to say goodbye.
Yeah.
We'll talk some other time.
But also leaves hope that there might be
Exactly.
a future, which this movie I feel did not leave that. So we'll
No,
get to
it
that
was
at the
like-
end. Like, great, hit it, get it, quit it. I'm going to go to Paris now for Miss
Yeah.
Metro, and then let it for Miss Underground, and then it's like,
So
come
there
on.
is a great version of this
Yeah.
song that they played in the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel series. This jazz singer had done Some Other Time. I can't remember her name, but they put it in a scene and it took my breath away because I went, oh my God, I totally forgot about that song in the show. And it's so lovely. So give it a listen. If you look it up. It should be on like one of the Mrs. Maisel like song lists.
Nice.
But it's an incredible version of the song.
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
But this this leads to some Keystone Cop comedy up there. And I mean, I do like the song, We're Going on the Town. I mean, you can't not, it's not as good as one that Bernstein would have written, but it's still,
Right.
it's a
okay.
catchy tune. And we get this montage of New York City 40s nightlife. And
Yeah. Well, it's the
This is
title
great.
song.
Also,
I mean, so
where-
it has to be big and brash and Ta-da. You
So
know.
they're going to these different nightclubs, and I love at the end how they had the showgirls do the exact same thing. But in the stage musical, as Aaron can tell you, it's not the showgirls that do the same thing. It's the lead singer sings the
Yes.
same song
Oh.
in a regular club, a Latin club, another club.
They're
But
hitting
it's,
all the clubs.
yeah, they're hitting all the
Yeah.
They're
clubs.
like
So
they're hitting the Latin
yeah,
club. They're hitting the club in Chinatown. They're hitting
Yeah.
the club in like Little Havana.
Yeah.
They're hitting the club like everywhere. Yeah.
in
Roseland.
each song, the singer is singing like "My date has left me," and like something like that, where it's like I'm so
very
lonely
funny.
and sad. It's really funny. It is cute what they do with the showgirls, though. Also, where is Claire getting all this money for tipping? From anthropology? Like she is tipping out
No,
like
no,
like
no.
left and
She's
right.
that was actually they did mention that, her family told her that she was too interested in men, so she should become an anthropologist. So it was slipped in there
Oh,
that
she's
she's
from
from
money. Okay.
money. Oh
He has
yeah,
means, yeah.
Because in the musical she's married and she's like, and the guy's a very understanding husband. He even has songs about like I called what's called like I understand or something like that, of her running around with men. He's like I understand or something like that. It's like it's a
Wow.
I didn't
totally
know
different
that.
story. Yeah,
Wow, I didn't
totally
know.
different story.
Woof,
Yeah,
it touches all the bases.
It's a
Yeah, yeah,
completely
yeah.
different
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
completely
yeah,
different.
for sure.
It's
That's kind of
completely
risque. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
But
I
I love the fact though that she and Hildy do, decide that they're going,
yeah, it's really
want
sweet.
they
Yeah, it's
want
really nice.
the camaraderie of this group is huge
Mhm.
by this time, and
Yeah.
the fact that they're working so hard to make her to make
Not
Gaby
embarrass her.
Ivy, not embarrass her, and make the fantasy come true because it's only for
Yeah,
one night, so
yeah.
it's
Which is
sweet.
sweet. And that is a fun number, I'll admit, at the end of the "You Can Count on Me" number, where they're
Mhm.
all and
Yeah.
like again, who steals the
Oh,
show?
I love
Oh.
that number.
Alice Pierce
Ah,
is fantastic in that number. It's so great.
yeah, because the clock is ticking on our
Yeah.
Cinderella, Ivy,
Yeah.
and she has to head off to Coney Island because it
Mhm.
only takes 30 minutes to get from Midtown Manhattan to Coney Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love
sure.
during the "You Can Count on Me" number, if you watch it, you can see in the background, they're almost cracking up at Alice half the time. And there's
Yeah.
even a point where you can see them full out laughing, like in the background, because she's so
And
funny. She's
Again, you
so
can
funny
tell
in
they're
it.
having a good time while
Yeah.
they're making this movie.
For sure,
Love
which
seeing
was
that.
great because she was a stage actress who became this other than like she again the only one from the Broadway show was probably just giant deal for her. I'm sure like it was to be I'm like, oh my god, I'm in a movie with Kelly
Yes.
Frank Sinatra and Vera Ellen and oh my god,
Yeah.
to her to just kill it and steal every scene she's in is awesome. I love stories like that. So great.
Yeah, yeah. So, then they happen to find the drunken, evil madam, what's her face, drinking, and they're like,
Yes.
"Well,
Yeah.
where is Ivy?" And she's like, "She's at Coney Island." And like, okay, now we have a car chase. Hildy's cab driving skills come to the fore again, and we have this kind of backlit.
Well, before that though, we got to go back to the
Oh.
Dream Ballet, A Day in New York.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
So
sorry,
yeah,
I
so
cut to the.
yeah, that's all right. Yeah, so Gene Kelly sees, this New York and three actress
He
like
says
the
good. He says
poster.
a very tender good night to
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, it's very sweet. With he's
Very,
like,
very
listen, I got my
sweet.
heart to another woman. You're gonna find the guy. And she's like, oh, and like she's so.
Yeah.
And it's so I think Trish was right. They give her like some agency. She's not just this little like side
Yeah.
piece for him.
And
She's
they
just kind
show
of,
him being kind, which is it's a
yeah.
nice little character
Mhm.
Yeah.
thing to
Yeah,
do.
this is good. So he has this whole dream ballet of like basically what the movie just happened. So we get
Yeah,
to see
it's
the
a
movie
complete
again.
recap.
So we get to see that in case you fell asleep the first. Here's what happened,
Yeah.
but in a beautiful ballet. So there you go.
And more Gene Kelly,
And it
Vera
was.
Ellen
And he's
action,
great. And he's
which of
great. God.
course, just
Great choreography.
it's
Really
just
great.
yeah, it's just his choreography is
I could see, and maybe it's just because it's my eye, because this was the first movie that he and Stanley did together as a collaborative team.
Mm.
And when the two kind of women come out and they're like super sexy and they're doing their dance number and they're just legs for days, I saw a couple moves that are 100% used later in Singing in the Rain for Sid Charisse.
Oh, really?
Percent.
Nice.
I went, oh, there it is. Like I saw it this time, like it just really stuck out.
Well, that's
to me.
why I
That's
say
in the sexy Sid Charisse number in the the dream sequence, gambler number.
well, that's why I think this was a little bit of a dry run for that scene. A little. I mean, obviously he did the Dream Ballet and American in Paris also. So I mean, this was he did them over and over again, because you did. Now I know, I didn't know you do dream ballets.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can see it was I mean, each one, and also just to be clear, Gene Kelly did this movie, he did this, then he did American in Paris, which won Best Picture, and then he did Singing in the Rain. Bam, bam, bam. He did these 3 movies right in a row. So this was the peak, and he actually said
they all won awards. They all did well. Yeah,
and he said about this movie that this was us at our peak. He said other movies might have been better, but this one we were all, I'm paraphrasing, but he was just saying, everybody was on at their best in this movie, and I think just physically,
they had youth on their side.
Yeah, energy.
He was 37, but he was, I mean,
not that he aged so much by American in Paris, but I'm just saying everybody's at their best in this movie, and it's just showing off, and I think that's another thing that I really love about it is like it is just a show off, like of the dancing and the choreography. It's just
you can tell he cares, though. Sometimes you see people performing, and they're performing, but every Gene Kelly movie, I always feel like it's a real labor of love for him, and every step, like, it's well thought out, and
he doesn't mark, as they say.
Yeah.
He's not saving his best for later.
Right.
Yeah.
100% to you all the time. And it's in his eyes, it's in his brain, it's in his heart, it's in every movement he makes. It comes in it's like sunbeams coming out of every one of his limbs. He's on the point. 100%.
Yeah, he commits. He totally commits. And this is one of the beautiful things about this number. It's just great to watch.
Yeah.
But so then we go.
Then we get to the police chase. Yeah.
The finale.
And there's a great moment, which I'm sure you guys all noticed too. When we go, let's hide under the fruit stand. They put the fruit stand down, and he puts a sign up where it says, what does it say? It says, shave and a haircut, 25 cents. And what do they play? Da, 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 which is, if people don't know, that's a musical term for shave and a haircut, 2 bits. Shave and a haircut, 2 bits. Which again, I only found this out about 10 years ago. How I never knew that before. I have no idea.
That was a huge part of the movie Who's Framed Roger Rabbit. Do you not remember that?
Yeah, I just don't remember it. I just don't remember it, I guess. Yeah. I probably saw, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But I never remember
Roger Rabbit for this.
Yeah.
I need to make Jimmy watch that again.
Yeah, it's been a while. I watched it several times, but it just didn't stick with me. But yeah, I thought that was really cute and clever.
So then, so here comes like really the based on everything we've just been talking about. So Gaby sees Ivy doing her cooch dance.
And that's what she's like, I'm a cooch dancer. Like, she's so upset about it. She's so ashamed.
And then Gaby's like, after he's built up this whole thing about her, he's like, I don't care.
Don't care.
I don't care.
I like cooches. I'm good with cooches.
Yeah.
Cooch me away, whatever.
Yep. I'm fine with you, how you are, and I still like you.
And your little harem pants and your little sparkly tops. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And these are this is tied, maybe it's a tie-in shared universe with State Fair, because I do feel that this is the kind of show that mom and pa went to go see at the fair.
Oh yes, it is.
They were going to see cooch dancers. They just didn't say it.
They were showing a little too much leg, or maybe a little too much belly, and just a little too much shimmy and shake. That's all that it was. It was not too scandalous. There's just a little more shimmy and shake than what was expected from them.
Yeah. And we have a comical cop comedy here with they dress up, the 3 males dress up as the girls and come out and do a number, and then the cops are like, oh, they're really cute, which is until Jules' pants fall down, as they do, and they haul them off in the paddy wagon.
Without their kiss.
Well, with into the naval paddy wagon, yes.
The naval, yes.
The Navy are like, we got them.
Shore patrol.
Yeah.
Which I love the idea, which I'm sure it's true. I'm sure there was a van that had to go around and pick up bad sailors.
Get the drunken sailors.
I'm sure some guys got way too drunk and got left on a curb here and there. They had to go pick them up so that they wouldn't, miss the boat.
Yeah.
Okay, I had to look this up really quick. Sorry, just let me jump in. So the term cooch or coochie is a slang descriptor for a belly dancer. So that's because they were kind of dressed in belly, not burlesque. So they were just they were kind of dressed in belly dancing type.
Okay, and a little shake, a little too much shake.
Yeah. And the saying coochie coochie coo when tickling influence, is that what does that mean though? It's
Oh,
like, where did that
sorrow.
come from? It doesn't really say where it
Come
came
to
from.
my
but all right, anyway.
place. Come
Yeah.
to my place.
Anyway, all right. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. So they take off and they don't like they get taken away and the girls are like, where are they? The cops are like, yeah, they're. So the girls all give these great speeches, and what's funny here is like they give these great speeches while they're being taken away to the ship. These guys are patriots and they wanted to see the museum. They wanted to do this and that and this and that. It's great.
So they both
And
were dinosaur a little,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the cops, everybody, comes to their side. The cops like, there's still time to go say goodbye. So what do? Well, one of them sits at a piano and starts playing music, and they start drinking and passing around. I'm like, I thought we're on a time to go. You just guys gonna have a party first and then go try to find them. You might have caught them and had maybe
Well,
5 minutes
they
instead of
they
5
had
seconds.
to get the police on their side. They had to do
Yeah,
the
for
sob
sure.
story to the fall. So, and then we cut back to the real Brooklyn Navy Yards. I'm a ferry taker, so there's I take the ferry during this past year to avoid going on the subway, and there's a stop that's there many times, and I'm like, it's a real place.
My grandpa was actually stationed during World War II. He was in the Navy at Brooklyn Navy Yard.
Wow.
Oh wow.
For a while, which I didn't find out for a very long time until I moved to New York. He's like, "Oh yeah, I lived there for a little while." I was like, "What? Oh yeah, I was stationed at Brooklyn Navy Yard." I was like, "What? That's like down the street from where I live."
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a great use of location, and we see our 6 lovers reunite for one kiss as the sun is coming up, and
But that's where the song is supposed to be.
Yeah.
which song?
The
goodbye
some other
song.
time.
Oh,
That's the goodbye
so
song.
Yeah.
so for the purposes of Gene Kelly and Stanley Donen, that would have been a big buzzkill. Obviously,
Yeah,
why they
for
didn't want
sure.
it. They didn't want that. They
But
didn't
here's
want
my
buzzkills
thing.
in the show.
I understand they couldn't do that for the movie. But and I understand it's established from the very beginning. Okay, we've got 24 hours, gotta get out of here. But you couldn't have given me like, I'll see you in Meadowville, Ivy.
I know.
Stay in touch,
There was
Claire.
nothing.
I'll write nothing. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
and then the
It's
next
a little
second
abrupt.
done. And it's like, what? That's it?
And
After-
not only is it abrupt, but
Yeah.
we see the same guy that we saw at 6 a.m. walking
Yeah.
out, singing his song,
Yeah.
and 3 new sailors hitting the town. So
Yep.
it's really, really fleeting. It's really brigadoon.
There's hope for the roommate yet.
Yeah, for sure.
It is Fleet Week. They got
Yeah.
the town's got a whole week dealing with these guys.
Lucy.
Yeah. Lucy, get that gargle going and hit the town,
Get it.
girl. Yeah. There was so yeah, no,
Gargle up some sailors, yeah.
this is a real what is the exact word that I am searching for? It's a real practical musical. It really is about getting laid during Fleet Week.
Yeah.
And that's
Listen,
it.
I'm a sailor son. My dad was on 2 ships, all right? So I get it.
It was
Yeah.
post-war, so I get them wanting to keep it light and frothy, and
Yeah, for sure.
maybe leave out some of those more serious songs. Which,
Yeah.
again, I have to go see the stage show now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Trish,
But again, all they could have done was just been like, I'll write. Here's
Yeah.
whatever, blah, blah, blah. You got my address,
Yeah.
remember? Or something like that. Something.
Exactly.
That's all it would have taken.
I guess
but,
it's like Inception. If you imagine that Gaby and Ivy had a strong enough connection that they did somehow connect back after the war in Meadowville, you could do that.
Again, unless he found a Miss London Underground or a Miss, Paris
Yes.
Metro.
Yeah.
That it's like, just
Yeah.
saying.
I don't know. I
They're
think he
traveling
was
all
shook.
over the world.
I believe in Gaby and Ivy. I believe they were shook and they kept in touch.
Pretty sure she gave him her address. Gave him.
Yeah,
her address,
yeah.
Yeah. So you're
Just would have been nice to hear that.
so you believe in Gaby and Ivy, Trish.
Oh yeah, never stopped.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. So I understand, and I do understand, Erin and Jimmy criticisms of this, and it definitely compared to there's not the emotional depth, there's not the resonance of the show and of the original score by Leonard Bernstein, and the original song. So you know what? That's absolutely fair play. And Trish, if when this shit is over and this is back on Broadway, you and I are going to go see it. Okay, let's make a date.
Oh, I'm gonna go see it
Yeah,
too.
all four of us. Yeah, we got a lot of dates
Absolutely.
after this musical week. We got, we're going to Don't Tell Mama and singing some Jesus Christ.
Yes,
right?
we are.
I hope Broadway is just going to be gangbusters when.
Oh, I can't wait to pay for full price tickets. Full price.
Yeah, same.
Like I am no longer gonna scrounge like the cheapskate that I am for whatever cheap discount ticket I can get. I am putting that credit card down and I am supporting. I cannot wait to go back.
Or I'll just have like a lot of my regulars would buy me Broadway tickets sometimes at the bar. So if I get behind the bar again, maybe I'll have some more regulars buy me tickets. I had a regular buy me 8th row tickets to Hamilton.
Oh,
My birthday 2 months in advance. So those tickets were probably $500 or $600 a piece.
Wow.
the dollar tickets a
Yeah,
piece.
yeah, easily. So I can make a mean drink. Let me tell you. So let me know when you got. I have a Trish.
Oh, do you have some?
Of course I do. Are you kidding me?
Trish, one of our Jimmy, if you watched the previous episode, Jimmy loves to recast everything. So yeah, let's
modern
do it.
day recasting.
Let's do it. Let's do the modern version.
Being of Asian descent.
I'm
Also,
prepared for this.
oh no, so that's okay. None of us do it because Jimmy's so good at it.
Jimmy
but if
does
you
all
have
of it.
any ideas,
Okay.
what's the
No,
one?
it's a modern day version of it. So,
Yes.
so I cast modern actors, and being of Asian descent and a former actor myself, and the fact that Hollywood's so white, even especially back then, I like to recast it ethnically, and mostly Asian, definitely always ethnic. So yeah. So here we go. Let me get the share thing going here.
Oh, I need to allow you to share. I forgot. I always forget something. There you go.
That's all right.
Share away.
Good. Oh, good. Okay. Share. So first up for Gaby, Darren Chris, who is half Filipino, if you don't know.
He's so cute.
Yes, yeah. Darren Chris, yeah, for sure. He'd be great, Gaby. Obviously, amazing singer and dancer. We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Frank Sinatra, someone who can actually dance and sing.
Oh.
Yep.
We have here is Vincent Rodriguez III from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. He's doing a little tap number there. But he can also sing very well. He's Filipino. He's amazing.
Yes. He is.
So we'd have a Chip who could actually dance. So it'd be great. As Betty Garrett, the Hildy, of course, the cab driver. We know she can sing because I picked her as my marrying Jesus Christ superstar, Wendy, from the K-pop group Red Velvet, but also as an amazing dancer because they all dance really well. But she's also really funny. They appear in all these variety shows, and here she is just being silly and funny in a variety show. That's her dancing, and I love her. She's great. She's really funny. So I think she'd be a great Hildy. As Ann Miller's Claire Huddleston, also, believe it or not, is a tapper. Vanessa Hudgens.
Oh,
Who's, of course, Filipino.
all right.
We know she can sing and dance, but here's a random little video I found of her talking about tap dancing. Get these tap dances, see a little bit of. She's got a couple moves there, a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
not bad.
So for Jules Munchin, who was Ozzy, I'm going to South Korea. He's a comedian, but he's a former dancer or former singer and dancer. His name is Ha Dong Hoon, but he goes by Haha. That's his name. But he's the one on the left, and they're just doing a little fun number, one of the variety shows everyone was on. So he's silly and goofy, which is what that character needs.
I like it.
I love Haha. Is really funny. He lives up to his name. And for Vera Ellen, of course, this is tough because it's my love. But modern day,
no Vera Ellen.
There is no Vera Ellen, but we want an amazing dancer, of course, and one of the best. Probably she's considered probably the best dancer in K-pop. Lisa from Blackpink, who can just watch the kicks just like Vera Ellen.
Oh yeah.
And she sings too. She's a ridiculous. That's a very tame dance video, but she is an incredible dancer. And Alice Pierce, who of course was the great Lucy Schmueller. Gotta go Aquafina.
Yeah.
Yes.
Aquafina would be hilarious. Oh my god, I could totally see her do it. And again, she's still choreographing and still. I think she choreographed something 2019 in direct, even at her age, because she's amazing. To direct this by Lee.
Oh.
Yes.
Be amazing. Of course,
Oh,
the original
right.
content, of course, line And of course, she's still directing. She's directed like something in 2019 and choreographed it, and she's amazing. So
She has
awesome
done
stuff.
every chorus line
Yep.
ever.
Yes,
I mean,
basically,
it's
yeah.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That's my little modern day recasting there, I guess.
It's good, Jimmy.
Yay.
Jimmy's
Excellent.
great. Jimmy's great.
Yep.
You know,
Yep. And when this is all over, I'm moving to Hollywood to become a casting director.
you should.
and I'm only
You
gonna cast,
should.
only
You
gonna
should.
cast my ethnic people and things. So.
That it's you're on the money so much. So so final thoughts about On the Town after our journey here, after we've seen all the sites, Jimmy.
Oh, me. Yeah, it's not my favorite. I think the best parts are definitely some of the obviously the numbers. It is a great cast. I reading up on the musical and seeing all the musical numbers I did, listening to the soundtrack, I really think I'd prefer the stage musical over it. But it definitely was fun. I dug it, but it's definitely not my favorite.
Erin.
Next.
I'm gonna probably echo a lot of what you just said. It's
Mhm.
while not my favorite movie musical, I still really always enjoy it because I'm a huge Gene Kelly fan and will
Mhm.
always will be, and I like so many of the songs. But I do prefer the stage version, even though it probably has too many dream sequences of dance ballets.
Mhm.
But but it's also pretty funny and magical and heart. It has a lot more heart, and that's the one thing I'm missing in the film is this giant beating heart of a
Mm,
film. But I love it for the comedy. It's great, and so I'll still always love it, but still not my favorite.
Yeah.
Trish.
Pretty much the same. It's a great thing to watch when you just want to turn off your brain and be entertained. The cast is the strongest thing about it, I believe.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I just want to watch something and feel good. You turn that on, you feel good, you know. If you guys ever do the bandwagon, that's my favorite. But anything, like you said, anything with Gene is top notch, you know, and the cast is the number one for me, really.
Yeah, I think that's it for me too. It's just, you're seeing people, we talked about this with White Christmas where they had this all-star cast and, not everybody was at the same level in each thing, but everybody did something spectacularly well, So I feel that way about this too. That it's just, and the dancing. I'll never get tired of the dancing. So, and I'll never get tired of New York.
That's for sure.
Mark is definitely one of the stars.
Yeah. So Trish, what are some of your favorite musicals? The Bandwagon, of course, but what are some of the other ones you love?
Oh, yeah. I'm the Bandwagon. I'm a huge Fred and Sid Charisse fan. Anytime those two get together, I love it. Oh boy, putting me on the spot.
Are you more old school or more new modern or?
Oh, old school, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've got every Fred and Ginger DVD. I've got pretty much every musical DVD. So, but that's number one is Bandwagon, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Singing in the Rain I just love Donald O'Connor so much. I felt like he was underused back in his day. You know, he was terrific, you know. So
fantastic,
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all obviously. I mean, Trish and I love watching musicals, and you guys love doing musicals. So, okay? But if we were to do musical month number 2, what are some other picks you might have, Erin and Jimmy?
Oh, where do I start?
I know, right?
I could teach a class. What musical theater movies 101? Obviously, Singing in the Rain, because I think it's the best movie musical ever created.
It is.
Hands down.
No argument here. No argument.
But I tend to like little quieter ones too. I'm a huge Doris Day fan, so I love her meetups with Gordon McRae in like By the Light of the Silvery Moon and on Moonlight Bay. I think they're just darling and sweet, wonderful little films. But I also I'm a huge Judy Garland fan, so I love Meet Me in St. Louis, and I like Summer Stock and those just big kind of splashier movie musicals. I could go on forever, but yeah, I tend to like some of the big ones. I like when it gets a little later too. Like I like when things start to get a little controversial, like Finian's Rainbow. It's like with the last film that Fred Astaire did when he's older and Petula Clark. And, it's basically banned as a theater production now because it's so controversial. So that would be a really fun thing to talk
I
about
saw
too.
the stage version, like it's probably close to 10 years back now, and I enjoyed it. The female lead was the wife of somebody I know, like a friend acquaintance. So being Irish, I was like curious about it, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I've seen it.
It's a far stretch. It's
Yeah.
like there's a leprechaun, and it's also during civil rights time, and it's like immigrants coming. Oh, there's a lot going on.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Sure.
But it's an interesting thing to talk about. But yeah, I tend to like the bigger, splashier, in the golden era, when you're talking about the mid 40s to mid 50s is like sweet spot musicals.
Mhm. Yeah. For me, I would definitely go old school, and like I grew up the King and I was one of my favorites growing up, and
Ugh.
one day I wanted to play the King was my dream role, but if I ever get back into it, I will. If I finance it myself, and of course I did West Side Story several times at the West Side Story.
Oh, I'd love to talk
Phenomenal
about West
film.
Side Story. Talk about
Phenomenal
that
film.
forever.
They're remaking, which they're remaking.
Yeah,
So
yep.
Mm.
Little Shop of Horrors. Little Shop of Horrors is amazing. I'd really like to cover either Disney animated musicals because they're amazing, or just the Menken ones because I'm a
Oh.
giant Alan Menken fan.
Yeah.
How
Beauty
could you
and the
not
Beast
be?
is still a
Yeah,
favorite.
of course. He's the best.
I mean, Hunchback has some of the most incredible
Oh
music,
my God.
and I used to sing that for auditions. A couple songs from there, and it's like
Nice.
out
Deep cut.
there is incredible.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
I would love
I
singing
mean,
Hellfire just to see
yeah.
how they would react. Hellfire. They're like, why is he singing this for Oklahoma?
I also think, like Little Mermaid is almost a perfect musical.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
great
really
music.
is. The music, the lyrics, it doesn't quite generate to stages magically, and so glad they put it in,
Mhm.
cartoon film form. But it
Yeah.
is almost a perfect musical.
Yeah. Well,
I love it.
I
I feel that
guess
way about Beauty and the Beast. Yeah.
Yes, same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel, I guess one of the things that I'm really into, I'm really into technical technique, and I think that's
I
why
think
I
you say
like.
Tech Killer Dream Code. I'm like, yes, I love
no,
that.
no. Well,
The movie's terrible,
Red,
but I
white,
love that.
yellow,
that
and
is
green,
good.
and black
That is good. Also, no. I'm really into things that are technique oriented. I think that's why I really like On the Town, because it is, just them showing off this insane dancing. Really, that's the real beauty of this movie. And so if I were going to go back, I would probably do some Busby Berkeley musical.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Because-
What is it? Gold Diggers in 1933?
Yes, or
Yeah.
Broadway Melody.
Broadway
Because-
Melody.
Melody,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because that
Nice.
shit is insane.
You could go
Yeah.
down the nerd, the
yeah.
nerddom to go into a Busby Berkeley movie is like,
Yeah.
Oh, because he was weird. He was
Artist.
nuts. I mean, he was nuts.
Yeah.
And the numbers are absolutely bizarre. Like there was Trish, it might have even been you and I were watching them. Like there was this Busby Berkeley festival on, and we were watching them. And of course, I'd never seen it. This is a long time ago. And just, they were jaw dropping.
yeah.
There's this honeymoon one where they're
The
cutting.
sets are insane.
They're
Yeah.
cutting the people out of a can with a giant can opener so they could go to their honeymoon. And
Yeah, don't do drugs and watch one of those movies.
no.
You're yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
for sure.
incredible.
Well, another more modern
sorry.
one would be A Chorus Line, I think, because being a musical theater person, that's
Yes.
that's our show. That's a show that we always want to do.
I need to
I
add
have
to
a
the Barbara
great audition
Streisand
story
world.
about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. It's like,
I mean, Funny
for sure.
Girl and would be a great. I love that movie so much.
Nikki Onstein.
See,
Nikki
not my,
Onstein.
yeah. I'm like, I this is sacrilegious, but I've never been I appreciate Barbara Streisand. I think she's an amazing talent, and when I met her in person, I got it. I'm like, okay, I get it. She's got this
She's
aura about her.
Luminous.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to work at Serendipity, and all the celebrities came in, and she came in one night, and I was like, oh, I get it. I see what's up. But I've just never been like, big fan of her movies.
Hello Dolly was
Hello Dolly would be a
Yeah.
great one to
Which,
do.
by the way, was a big comeback for Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because he directed it.
He's directed
Yeah.
it because the musical went into decline after, right after this golden age. And then he went on, Brigadoon, which we talked.
that too was also filmed on location, parts of it in Yonkers.
See,
Yep.
One
Gene
of my
Kelly loves an on-location movie.
Because
This is
he's
his
right.
style.
He's
one of my
'Cause it
neighbors was
works.
in it as a little girl. They were casting, and so she's like near the end, sitting on the church steps or something. It was
Yeah.
like a
So I
casting.
used to sing as a backup singer for a long time and played this wedding, and because we would have to play like right after, sometimes they came down the aisle. This couple finished getting married, and the music that started playing was from the movie Hello Dolly, Put on Your Sunday Clothes, and I burst into tears. I
Yeah.
was so happy. I started
Aw.
crying. I was like,
Nice.
I don't know who these people are, but this is wonderful.
Great.
That's
Great.
great.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if you remember, a couple of years ago, they were, or was it just our local theater doing it? They were showing the old musicals in theaters. Like every week would be a different
They
one.
do those specials sometimes. You can
Yeah.
sometimes like see, they bring them back for like a
Sister
whole
made me
couple
go,
days.
and I was like, okay, so I appreciated it more.
Yes.
It's different to see it on a big screen than.
Well, so I used to do a movie musical night because in
Ooh.
my backyard in Brooklyn, the house that's behind us has no windows. So I could project films on the wall, and we could lay in my backyard and watch movies. So, and I would do like themed
Amazing.
food, but I'll tell you, being able to see things on a bigger screen, especially these big musicals, it changes how
Oh.
you see them.
Yeah.
It's really like even a movie you've seen a million times, the second it's on a bigger screen, you go, oh, you catch moments that you never saw before. And you understand also, you kind of put you in that place of when people first saw them because they were seeing them only in the movie theater.
Right.
And here we are seeing them, on a small little box with small little sound. And now it's just, and once it's epic. So yeah, we had West Side Story night. I had The Wiz one night.
Oh, the Wiz. Yeah. Nice.
I mean, what did I make? I made like a dessert. It was what is it? What's the show that it's not down the road, but
Ease
No,
on
no,
down.
no,
Ease
it's
on down the- So I
it's-
made ice cream sandwiches called Ease on Down the Rocky Road,
Yeah.
and I made Rocky Road like ice cream sandwiches.
That's awesome.
We
That's
do very
awesome.
funny food. Yeah.
So here for that.
Some other ones just randomly, like more modern ones, like in the chorus line vein, like Fame,
Oh,
yeah.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. Heck, even Purple Rain was a
Cabaret.
musical. Yeah, Cabaret.
Cabaret.
Oh, and
Right,
well,
yeah.
Bob Fosse. I mean,
Yeah.
haven't even touched on that man.
I mean,
Yeah.
haven't even got exactly all that jazz.
Oh,
Yeah.
all that jazz. Well, that is a movie. A lot of people say that's their favorite movie, All That Jazz.
Really?
Well,
Hmm.
two people.
Okay.
Both my stepfather and Neil Gaiman told me their favorite movie is All That Jazz.
It's
Oh,
dark.
Really?
jazz. That's what I meant to say.
Makes
not
sense for Neil
cabaret.
Gaiman.
Yeah,
Anyway, I meant all that jazz. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, it is a great movie.
Hair.
Dark
hair,
Hair would be
yeah.
great.
Well,
Very looking forward to Music Man coming to Broadway. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but
Oh, I love Music Man.
we were destined to go see Music Man, and of course, pandemic happened. So
Yeah.
hopefully that will happen once things get back to normal.
I think that when we're talking about movie musicals, The Music Man is almost a perfect movie musical. It is.
Yes,
It
I agree.
hits
I
all
love
the
it.
casting
Love it.
is perfection. From every little role to all the big roles, like it is, there's not one moment missed.
and it was like one thing about I agree. One thing about that was that Preston, he had done it on stage, correct?
On Broadway, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you see when they don't, obviously famous, Julie Andrews, My Fair Lady. All right, Audrey Hepburn. We'll settle for Audrey Hepburn. But I bet Julie Andrews is great as Eliza Doolittle. But, when they're brave enough to just say, yep, we're going to get the stage actor in there, it makes a perfect movie. It makes so
Well,
much
Yeah.
better.
It because the part
yeah.
was him. He
Yes.
created it.
Yes.
And they could have tried to find someone else, but all they'd be doing is trying to do a Robert Preston impersonation.
Mhm.
Because after that, every single show that's ever
Yep.
been done from regional to high school, they're all doing Robert Preston
Mhm.
impressions.
Yeah.
Like he created
Yeah.
that role.
Well,
And
we talked about that during Superstars, during the John Legend Superstars. Like you could tell who were the theater trained actors in that.
100%.
Yeah.
Because they were the best ones in it.
Well,
it's like-
very sad that Gene Kelly's greatest role on Broadway was Pal Joey, which apparently was an incredible performance. And then when they made the movie, he was supposed to be in both the Pal Joey movie, which, Rodgers and Hart, that would have been great, and Guys and Dolls, which would have been great. But they wouldn't release him from his contract to do the movies. So we were, instead given Marlon Brando in Guys and Dolls. So
Yeah, ouch.
oops.
It'd have been a completely different movie.
Yeah.
Completely different to have Gene Kelly in that role. I mean, they would have added more dance numbers.
We
to that whole
probably
thing.
would have actually enjoyed the movie and talk about it now if it'd been Gene Kelly instead. And Guys and Dolls is got some of the most iconic, theater songs of all times. And
the most epic, I mean, talk about, Vivian Blaine, who we talked about last week. It's like that was her Broadway iconic role.
Yeah.
So, and again, they brought her back because no one else could do it. Now every production you ever see, they're doing her impression of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, that role.
Yeah, but you do see like some miscast musical roles, and there's a lot of reasons for them, why it happens. And
there's a lot of miscast, especially in modern stuff.
Gerard Butler is the Phantom of the Opera.
We cannot talk about
getting like actual musical actors to do shows like fucking Blah Blah Land. Kiss my ass, worst movie ever.
So but really quickly, I saw Blah Blah Land in the theater, and as we're watching that, now people are talking about that big, dance moment that the two of them do together. They're like in the park or whatever.
She can't point her toes.
She can't point her toe, and I screamed it in the theater. I was like, "Couldn't get her to point her toe in any take, could ya?" I was pissed. I was like, you get this giant movie musical and you can't point your toe once during the dance sequence?
Right. Well, this actually leads us into next week. So next week, we're indie musical month with the same guys that did La La Land. Much as I hate that movie, they ended up doing a great one. The same music, The Greatest Showman. I love this film. It's a modern musical, great cast overall.
Good.
It's the same guys that unfortunately did La La Land, but
and they also cast a lot of Broadway people in the chorus parts.
Yes,
so the vocals are insane. And they definitely fixed a lot of their.
And I've already did a modern day recasting of it, so it's great.
All right, very good. Well, looking forward
to
that.
Next week.
And just in case anybody is still with us, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit notifications. And we will be at 2:00 from here on out because Jimmy's schedule has changed. So we'll be doing it at 2:00. And it's great. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
As always. Thanks for joining us, Erin and Trish. And I am Heidi McDonald, editor at The Beat, comicsbeat.com. And you can find me on all social media at COMIXACE, Comics Ace. Jimmy?
I'm Jimmy Aquino, the host producer of the weekly comic podcast, Comic News Insider at comicnewsinsider.com. We cover comics, TV, film, and pop culture. You can find me at Jimmy Aquino, JIMMYAQUINO, Instagram, Twitter, the socials.
I'm Erin Crosby. I was so happy to be here again. You can find me on Twitter at Erin Crosby Sings and on Instagram at Erin Crosby Makes for all of your food, flowers, and dog enjoyment.
She can sing and make, that's for sure.
I make things.
Yeah.
Trish?
I'm on Twitter, Trish M. Short and sweet.
She was one of the original Twitters.
Like, how did you nail that one? Good job.
She was on day one.
Nice.
I am on Instagram. I'm Trish, all one word, Trish MVHL. I'm still trying to figure out Instagram. I'm not so good at that one. So,
and do you have any upcoming comics coming out? Any projects that you colored?
No, right now I'm actually in a work lull, so I am cleaning house.
All right.
I am waiting on pages for sort of a non-comics thing, outside project. But right now I'm just enjoying the winter and the snow.
But what are some of the books that we could find your work on actually that are out already?
Oh boy, Birds of Prey. Let me see. Let me look at my desktop here.
She had an iconic run on Wonder Woman, so just FYI, she's as the colorist. And also Eisner Award-winning colorist. Tricia's modest, so I'll plug her.
There you go.
Yeah.
I did the longest running coloring run on Wonder Woman. Whoop, whoop.
Nice.
Amazing.
I just did some work on Batgirl's Future State and Wonder Woman Dark Tales. Some little bit of Batman stuff here and there. It's just a hodgepodge right now. So
yeah, but you can find her name on many, many, many great comics. Well, Trish, thank you so much for joining us this week to talk about.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for asking. I had fun.
All right, and so until next time, we are Comic Beat Insider. Stay safe out there.
Peace.
Bye.
And go on the town.